Hi everybody, welcome to yet another episode of HSP TV. Today is the 33rd episode and today I want to talk to you about why we all have a fear of failure. If you're tuning in for this live, please let me know that you're there, wave at me, type in your name, where you're from, and I'll give you a shout out in the broadcast. And if you're watching this later on in the replay, hi, thank you for watching the replay, thank you for being here and supporting me with this HSP TV episodes. So today I want to talk to you about the fear of failure, because I've noticed that that is something that most of us have problems with, and especially as a highly sensitive person, we tend to get trapped in the fear of failure. And this can have several different reasons, and surprisingly, most of them have nothing to do with being self-confident. For instance, maybe you've experienced a fear of failure when you have to try new things. And usually we are so perfectionistic that we want to know for sure that we are able to do something perfectly. So when we are doing stuff for the first time, we have no reference. We've never done it before. So we are not sure that we can do it perfectly. And that makes us afraid of failing at the task at hand. I heard this story today on the radio actually, and it's inspired me to do this talk about failure today. And I thought it was really inspirational, so I want to share it with you today. The story was about a Pakistani man, a man from Pakistan, obviously. And his big dream was to become a national swimmer, a swim champion, actually. And for Pakistan, this is really unusual because most Pakistanis don't even learn how to swim. And he, in fact, hadn't learned how to swim. But still, his big dream was to win awards with swimming. So when he was older, he decided to take on swimming lessons in a lake close to his house. And he hired a swim instructor. Vijay Horst, nice of you to join. He hired a swim instructor to teach him how to swim. And at first they stayed in the shallow parts of the lake. There was a line drawn through the lake, and in front of the line you were able to stand, and behind it was the deep part of the lake. And he started doing his exercises with his teacher in the shallow part of the lake, learning how to swim, practicing, and it went okay. Hi, Ahmed, nice of you to join. It went okay, and he was confident in his ability to learn it. Hi, Freddy, nice of you to join. And one day his teacher asked him, are you ready to go into the deep part of the lake? Are you ready to practice your swimming? And are you ready to see if you can actually swim without being able to stand? And he told his instructor, yes, I am ready. I want to try to swim in the deep end of the lake. So his teacher, he took him out past the line into the deep part of the lake. His teacher was on a floaty raft and he was swimming and swimming and swimming. And eventually they reached the middle of the lake. And once they got there, he panicked. He crammed up and he went down with his head underneath the water, and he wasn't able to get himself back up. But luckily his teacher was there, and his teacher was able to get him onto the floaty thing, and he brought him back to shore. And that was his first experience with swimming in the deep end, and it was not a very good one. He was disappointed with himself, with his inability to swim, and he got scared of not being able to become an Olympic swimmer or a medalist swimmer. And the next day he decided to go back to the lake and to try it again, but this time without his teacher. And he swam to the middle of the lake, and this time when he reached the middle of the lake, he discovered something, something profound. He discovered that he didn't know how to stop swimming. He didn't know how to turn himself around, and he didn't know how to yeah, stop swimming. And that was what happened last time. He thought, I want to stop here, I want to turn around, and he suddenly became so afraid that he crammed up and he went underneath the water. And that is an important lesson to us, because I cannot remember when was the last time that we actually jumped into the deep end of a lake without knowing how to do something. And that's the case when we try new things. We don't know how they will turn out, and we don't know if we will be good at them. So what we also do often is then we self-sabotage. And we know that we need to do something, especially when you're an entrepreneur. This could be that you need to do these videos like I'm doing now, because videos allow people to get to know you and to interact with you. So it's important when you have a type of business like I am to use video. And it could be that you know you need to do the videos, but you're afraid that you will lose your words, or that you're too nervous, or that you will come across as an idiot, or whatever thoughts you put in your mind that make you afraid of failing when you're starting your videos. And then we self-sabotage. We start procrastinating, and we start to think things like, we don't really need it, or well, we will never be good at this because we are not a natural talker and people won't be interested in what we are saying. So we self-sabotage our success. It can also be part low self-confidence of low self-esteem. If you have never had somebody tell you that you have a good voice to speak, that you love listening to, or nobody told you that you're beautiful and that people like watching you, or nobody told you that you have a message that is important to get out there, then you might not feel confident enough to actually go make these types of movies and put yourself out there, failures and all. And let me tell you, that was also one of my fears when I started out. In the beginning, I didn't dare do these live types of videos because I was afraid of saying the wrong things, not always finding my words, not making sense, rambling, not being interested enough or interesting enough, not having a topic to talk about. So I started doing videos that I recorded, because then I could edit them afterwards, and I could cut out all the pieces that I didn't like. And that's the next part that you need to be aware of, and that you need to watch out for. It's perfectionism. Because if you're not careful, you'll be like me, and it will take you 4 hours or 8 hours, entire day basically, to produce one video of 4 minutes that you think is perfect enough to share with your audience. And that's what I did in the beginning. I retook and retook and retook my videos, because then my hair wasn't in the right place, or then my necklace was not in the middle, or I forgot to put on lipstick, or I misspoke, I forgot to say stuff, I stammered, whatever faults I saw in the video, I needed to improve them. And in the beginning, I wasn't even able to edit my videos. So that actually meant that I had to do them perfectly from start to finish, because I wasn't able to cut out the parts that were bad and mix in other parts that were good and make a nice video out of the components that you gathered. And I actually did spend an entire day on one video one time, because I couldn't get it to be perfect at one end. And starting to do these live videos, that made me also nervous and afraid. And I felt it actually last week, and maybe even also the week before, I'm not sure. But I felt like I was incoherent, that I was rambling, that I wasn't prepared enough, that I didn't have anything interesting to say. And I was ashamed for like now, that you don't really know the next word that you're going to say. And I wanted to apologize actually to all of you on live video, to apologize for being rambly or not making sense. But I stopped myself, because this is who I am, and this is what I do, and you're seeing the real me right now, and I don't have to apologize for being the real me. And this is my message to you if you are watching and if you want to start videos, but for some reason you're still not doing them. They don't need to be perfect, they just need to be real. They need to be the real you with a real story where you are totally yourself. And that doesn't mean perfection. And it also doesn't mean that you cannot stumble sometimes or maybe ramble even, because what you might think is rambling, others might not even notice. So that's an important message I want to give you when you are considering doing videos like these but are still afraid of doing them. What I also usually do when I need to do something for the first time, and of course I can still be afraid of failing as well, is I start to analyze the different outcomes of what I'm going to do. So know which way it can go, what types of topics I want to talk about, what types of things I want to show, for instance, for videos. But it's much broader than just the videos. It's basically for every new thing that you want to do. And another thing that I like to do is to come up with the worst case scenario. What could be the worst thing that could happen if I do this myself? And the first time I did this, it was when I had just bought my house by myself, and the previous owners had taken out the rug from the stairs. It was with copper rods and fancy and stuff, and they thought it was that valuable that they needed to take it with them. Well, okay, I didn't like it anyway, so it was fine. But the end result was having stairs that were only painted on the outside. And the entire inside, the middle part of the stairs, was naked. It was just raw wood. It wasn't painted, it wasn't treated, nothing. So I needed to do something with that part of the stairs, and I could have chosen to paint them, but that would have been a lot of work, and probably I would not have been able to find the exact right color that was already on them. So that meant doing everything, all the stairs, all the different steps on the stairs. And I was walking in the Karwei, actually, in Holland. So if you're a Dutch viewer, you know what I'm talking about. And I saw something that we call a loper. It's like a rug, but a small rug, and it's especially designed for stairs. So I thought, wow, this is exactly what I need. I measured it, and it was the exact width I needed. So I took it home with me, but then I faced a different problem. How did I get it on the stairs? I'd never done anything like that before, and I usually had a man in my life doing these types of things, so I didn't really know how to start, and that's when I came up with the worst case scenario. I thought, what is the worst case that could happen if I do this myself? And I really thought about it, and I thought, well, okay, the worst case that could happen is that I put it on crooked and that I need to take it off again. And I thought, well, okay, I can handle that. If it's crooked, I can handle getting it off again and putting it on again. I can handle that. And that was really the worst case scenario that I could think of. So that gave me confidence in starting the project. And I ended up doing it perfectly. It was straight. It's still on there 8 years later, and it's still looking beautiful. I ended up being really proud of myself for doing this myself, for not asking for help, for not needing help, and for thinking of a strategy to overcome my fear of failure and to do it again. So it's always good strategy to think of the worst case. What's the worst thing that can happen if I do this? So if you take the video example, what's the worst case that you can do? What is the worst thing that can happen if you do live video? Well, maybe that nobody is watching, but then you will still have a new experience. You can still look at yourself in hindsight and see what you could improve, and you will have done it. So the next time, it will not be the first time. And so you need to think positively also. You never fail. If Richard Branson, for instance, thought he failed when he dropped out of high school, he would never have become such a successful man that he is right now. And the same goes for the inventor Edison. He tried like 1,000 times before he actually invented the light bulb. And he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just found 1,000 ways in which it didn't work. So turn your thinking around. Think positively. From every experience, from everything that you do, you can learn something new, and that knowledge you can take into the next time and maybe improve certain parts, and then maybe you will do some other stuff that you're maybe not proud of or that you think you could have done better, but then you know that for the next time. So it's always beneficial. You will always learn something from it. So think positively. And the final thing that I want to tell you, the final thing I want to give you to think about is having a contingency plan. So if you're doing something for the first time and you're not exactly sure if it will work out, then it's good to have a contingency plan. Like if I did the rug on the stairs for the first time, I put it on crooked and I needed to tear it off, my contingency plan could be to ask one of my neighbors to help me with it, or to go to a professional carpenter and have him do it. That would cost a lot of money, but it is a contingency plan. And knowing that you have a contingency plan and knowing what the worst case scenario can be and knowing that every experience teaches you something, those combined can help you overcome your fear of failure. So I hope this was valuable to you. I hope you learned something from it. I also hope that you will share this video with your network so that more people can learn the same things or hear the same things. I also hope that you will join me again next week, because HSP TV is live on both Facebook and Instagram every Thursday, 5:30 Amsterdam time, which is GMT +1. And I am here to answer your questions. So you can either ask them live to me in the broadcast, or you can send me an email at info@tobeimbalance.com with the number 2beimbalance.com. I will also post the info below this video so that you can see it in the rerun. You can ask me any question that you have regarding sensitivity, regarding low self-esteem, self-confidence, growing your self-confidence, getting focus and structure, but also business questions, how to handle difficult clients, how to have a strategy in place to not feel rejected when a client or a prospect says no, when you really want them to become your client. These are all examples of questions that you could ask me, but it could also be topics that you would like to know more about. I would love to hear from you, and I will also love to connect with you. So I hope to see you all again next week, same time, same place, and I thank you for either joining me live today or for watching this replay later on. Thanks for now, and bye. See you later.